everyone. Thank you for joining us for another Perfect Mind Champions Way webinar. Today we have an awesome webinar that I'm sure a lot of you guys could benefit from. One of the most important things of owning a martial arts business is staff training. And we have Shihan Michael Vacca to take us through this whole process. He is a multi-school owner who's been training in martial arts for over 30 years. He's got 3 locations in Pennsylvania. And he's part of the Mastermind Alliance, which is a group that works to help martial arts schools grow. So without further ado, I'll let you take it away, Shihan.
Great. Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everybody. As you know, we're here to discuss a little bit about some martial arts staff training. And before we begin, I'd like to just kind of give you a few stats and information about me and my school. Currently, I'm a 5th degree black belt and owner of East West Karate. We're in the Philadelphia area. We have 3 locations in a approximately 5-mile radius from each other. Amongst the 3 schools, we have 9 full-time staff members, 3 at each location, and anywhere from 1 to 3 part-time assistants at each location as well. We take a look at the numbers where we are currently for year 2013. We're right about 1,000 students total. Our main dojo has been up and running for 16-plus years. We have an in-the-door active of about 425. Our second school is 6-plus years, and in-the-door active weekly at 375. And our most recent school is 10 months old at this time, and they have a 200 in-the-door current active count. As far as stats and revenue, our average monthly gross is $149,000 for this year, 2013. Our main dojo is averaging $61,000 a month. Our second dojo, $56,000, and our newest dojo at $32,000. So I think the way we're able to accomplish our student count and our revenue and maintaining our staff is through good quality staff training. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And some of the key takeaways I think we're going to look at are the purpose of staff training and how we split up and divide our physical training and our business training. Number one, I think the most important thing to understand is just the purpose of staff training. And in our minds, it's to create and maintain a strong team mindset. We want to make sure that, all the staff members, all the instructors, all the employees feel like they're part of the same team and creating a team environment. And if they're allowed to operate on their own all the time or forced to operate on their own and not get together and create that camaraderie, sometimes that can be lacking. So not only do we want to keep them together, strengthen the bonds of friendship and respect for each other, but create that team mindset. Second point I think would be important to talk about is how we help develop and strengthen the key areas of their martial arts and their business. And thirdly, I believe it's just the right thing to do. Our staff members are our students first and our employees second. And we have to remember that as head instructors and owners, we have a responsibility to our staff members to continue to be their instructor and their mentor. And then finally, I think we need to continue to perpetuate professional martial arts, and we need to make sure that our staff, who are going to be the next generation, carrying the torch, so to speak, how to run professional martial arts schools for the future. They're the kind of 3 key points as far as why I believe it's important. Who attends staff training? Well, it's mandatory attendance for all of our full-time staff members. Our part-time members are encouraged to attend when possible. Some of our assistants and part-timers may still be in high school. A couple may be, employees elsewhere and help in the evenings. So when there's vacation or there's summertime and anytime the opportunity is available, we will encourage the part-timers to join us. And also we do have some select black belt students who have been with us for a long time, 6, 8, 10-plus years as students. And we'll occasionally invite them to train with us in class and, get the workout in and maybe leave for our business portion, but to get in there and just train in the instructor environment helps them raise their level as a student because they're watching the instructors train. It also helps the instructors stay on their toes and make sure they're being reminded that students are always watching them. So it's a good environment. We hold our staff training formally twice a week, Mondays and Wednesdays. We do that from 9:30 in the morning till 12 noon every week. From 9:30 to approximately 10:45, the first half of the training session is always going to be our martial arts and fitness training. And then the second half is always going to be our business meeting. As far as the physical training goes, it's full martial arts and fitness class. A complete and formal martial arts class. We start with a bow-in. We do regular warm-ups. We're going to do a complete training session. We're going to do some cool-down stretches, and we're always going to share wisdom. And, in our schools, we believe that the mentoring process is a key component of success. And right now, this week, we're talking about commitment. In this particular region of the country where we are in the Northeast, spring is breaking this month. It's the first couple of days we've reached the high 70s and the low 80s in temperature. And our conversation with our students in these classes is about reminding them about commitment, not being distracted by the warm weather and that spring fever that comes along, and people kind of maybe opting to not want to attend karate class and kids wanting to go outside and play. So whatever we're going to talk about in our classes, I'm going to be sharing with our instructors during our staff training, so they're prepared to handle that conversation with the classes. And as far as the training sessions themselves go, the topics are going to rotate in order to kind of incorporate all the curriculum skills that we have. We're going to be working on Muay Thai kickboxing skills. Some days we'll be working on our jiu-jitsu skills. We'll be working on stand-up sparring. We'll work on some of our traditional martial arts skills, our self-defense, whatever it is. Weapons training, whatever part of our curriculum that we have in our schools, that's what we cover in our staff training. And then we are always working on strength and fitness drills, because that's also a key component of our curriculum, making sure that our students are fit and strong and healthy, so that's always included in our staff training as well. After staff training, the second half of our meeting is always going to be business training. And we always start, again, with that kind of team mindset. We'll go school by school, group by group, and find out what the victories are for the week for each school. And we want to make sure that we do that purposefully, because we want our instructors and our staff members to look for positives from their dojos. We want them to find out, who was successful in class as a student this week. What success did we have with enrollment? How did belt testing or promotions go? We want them to look for the positives and share the victories. Then we're always going to be discussing our stats, finding out where we are, along our path for the month as far as new members, renewals or upgrades, gross revenues, and then we want to discuss, what the projections are for the rest of that month and what our goals are, what the gap is in between that, and how we need to work to accomplish hitting those goals. There may be some challenges that need to be discussed from time to time. Maybe a student's been lacking some attendance and they're up for belt testing and they need to make some things up. There may be some tuition concerns with a parent, delinquent status. All the millions of things that could arise in the martial arts school. So we'll, deal with those challenges together as a team and help them be overcome. We're always going to be talking about our upcoming events. They're very consistent from school to school. We try to do that on purpose. However, we may occasionally have some things that don't coincide. For example, over the last 3 weeks, we had Student Picture Day. So, we started that on March 23rd at one school. The following Saturday, March 30th, was the other school, and April 6th was the following. So we'll make sure that everybody knows what's going on at each of the individual dojos. Sometimes we'll help and share some, equipment that we might need. So we just make sure everybody's on the same page together. And we all have weekly announcements that, again, most are consistent. Some may vary. Our newest school's only been open for 10 months. So they have some empty spots in their schedule that aren't full yet because it's not a full class schedule there. They may be hosting a free parents class on a Tuesday night at 7:30, or maybe the other schools can't do that because they have class at that time. So we want to make sure everybody's weekly announcements are solidified. And then we're always going to be talking about our marketing and what those plans are for the week. And, marketing doesn't just mean advertising to us, I think. Marketing for us is very internal. We'll be scheduling parents as coaches classes. We'll be scheduling buddy weeks. We'll be scheduling birthday parties, pizza parties. We'll be looking for family members to add on to their memberships. We'll be talking about our belt promotion night and what we can do for that if there's any holiday specials coming up. So we're going to always be discussing our marketing. Again, a very key point to the training. One of the things that we're always going to cover, we call PDR, practice, drill, rehearse. And we want to make sure that we review our business skills as professional martial artists as much as we review our physical martial arts skills. As all of us know, repetition is the mother of success. We do our kicks, our punches, our stances, and over and over and over, and we drill them. And then sometimes we may neglect, the other end of the business, which is proper info calls, and doing enrollments and upgrades and intro lessons properly. So we will do a simple practice drill rehearse where, info call 101, we'll practice having the phone ring in. We'll team staff members up in groups of 2 or 3, and we'll have somebody just, make pretend they're a caller, and then one of our other staff members will field that call, and they'll practice, hi, I'm interested in some lessons for my son. The other person will go right along. Great. How old is your son? And talk it right through to the appointment. So we'll practice those different things. We'll practice teaching tips. Some of the teaching tips might just be, being loud and clear when you're speaking, being encouraging to your students, giving them the, kind of mindset of you can do it, you can accomplish it, always being positive, never being negative. How to be exciting, using voice inflection in your teaching, pointing out the students who are, excelling in class and using them as an example to kind of help everybody else lift their level out there on the floor. As an instructor, always performing at a higher level than your students. Again, give them a reason to try harder. Always encouraging level 10 performance, black belt performance, and being accommodating to the students. Making sure that we remember that we're there for them. It's our job to serve them, and that's what we do. So very important to practice these things with your staff, because we don't want it to become routine. We don't want it to become mundane. And, we don't want key points to be forgotten. And if things aren't reviewed and things aren't practiced, no matter how simple they may be or how well someone may be able to do them, over time that diminishes. So it's important to kind of keep those tools sharp. I think one of the most important parts of staff meetings is our 3 o'clock daily staff meeting. Now that's a little different, right? That's held at each individual location, and it's led by the head instructor at each school. Our schools are staffed where we have a head instructor, an assistant instructor, and a program director. There are 3 full-time members. And at 3 o'clock, our head instructor sits down with those other 2 instructors and any part-timers who are able to be there by 3 o'clock. And we'll review some key points for the day. And we'll touch on them quickly. Number 1, we're always going to be looking at our ABC student list. If you're not familiar with what that is, it's just a list where we rate all of our students on a monthly basis as A, B, or C. A students are our top students. Their attendance is great. Their attitude's great. Their effort's great. They're an A student. We can count on them to be back. Our B students are the students who, they're pretty consistent with their training. They're, there for class. They participate in special events. Occasionally they may skip a week or skip a class. We just got to keep our eye on them. But overall, they're pretty strong students. And then our C students are the ones that we know are, possibly on their way out. Their attendance is spotty over, 2 to 6 weeks. Their enthusiasm in class isn't great. Maybe you've heard from the parents that, they're giving them trouble coming into class. They're the students who we need to really focus on and work on. So we'll make our list. We'll review it and update it every day at 3 o'clock and see who needs some special attention. We will set up private help lessons. We'll make phone calls. We'll send good job notes. We'll send emails. We want constant communication between our staff and our students, because our goal is to turn our C students into B students and turn our B students into A students to help maintain our retention as much as possible. Second thing we're going to cover are the intros and the upgrades scheduled for the evening. So head instructor will sit down with the program director and everyone else who is able to make the meeting, the assistant instructor, the part-timers. We'll get the schedule book out for that day, and we'll see how many intro lessons we have. Make sure that the lessons are confirmed. We want to know what time the lessons are, because if the program director has, a window of time where there's no lessons that they have to teach or worry about enrolling somebody, we may have them come out on the floor and assist and help. We may have them, go into the parent lobby and speak with some parents. So we want to make sure, again, everybody's on the same page. We want everyone to know what's going on for the night. We want everyone to feel like a team. There may be follow-ups that need taking place, preparing our folders and inquiry sheets. Folders and inquiry sheets are what we have set for the intros in the evening. If we have a lesson coming in at 6 o'clock for a 10-year-old, we're going to make sure that, all the paperwork's prepared. There's a new student folder ready for that student. So when they walk in the door, someone at our front desk is going to be greeting them. welcoming them to the school, introducing them to our program director. They're going to come right into our intro room, and then we handle very professionally, and everything's prepared ahead of time. So again, so we kind of give that professional appearance. Another key point in our daily staff meeting is going to be our DNS calls. Our DNS stands for did not show, and that means they did not show up last week for attendance. So we call. We have to make sure we contact that. And we have our front desk person primarily handle those calls, and whatever or whoever they're not able to get in touch with, they'll assign, and NA just stands for no answer. When we called them, there was no answer. So we'll assign the calls that had no answer to our program director or our assistant instructor, or even the head instructor if we feel like that's the person who needs to contact somebody for like a little bit more leverage or authority. So we're always up to date on our attendance cards, calling them. Our BBC target. In our schools, when you enroll in our program, you join a basic membership trial kind of program, and then you're going to renew or upgrade into our black belt training. So we want to make sure that we know amongst our white belts or yellow belts who's eligible or up for renewal. And again, it's a team effort. We want to make sure that we're greeting those members. We want to make sure we're giving them a positive mat chat on the floor. We want to make sure that we're able to highlight them in class. Children love to be highlighted. You ask the kids in class, who'd like to volunteer, who'd like to come up front? Hands just shoot up. So when we can bring a student up in front of the class and maybe have them lead a drill and set a good example for the other kids, it really boosts their self-esteem, makes them excited, and it certainly kind of sparks the parents. And the parents see their kids in that leadership role, and it goes a long way as far as kind of wanting them to be part of our team long term. Card stickers are something that we use on the back of all of our attendance cards. It's a simple, white label that lists a couple things that we want to make sure are accomplished with every student. A couple of those points would be making sure that they were greeted by all staff members, making sure the testing process was explained to each person, making sure that they were kind of brought into the intro room and had a positive mat chat about a good job that they did in class. It's just about communication. So, A, we want to make sure that they're current, that everything is taking place as it should, and someone hasn't been there for 10 classes, yet no one explained the testing process to them yet. And we also want to make sure it's strategically timed. We don't necessarily want to have a talk about, sparring drills to a student who's been there for 2 classes. So the stickers help us kind of keep track of everything that we want to accomplish, and keep all of our white belts organized as far as the communication they're getting from the staff. One of the other things that we do with all of our students is we have a report card for all of our basic members prior to their renewal/upgrade process. And it's a report card that basically assesses them a little bit as far as mental and physical development. And it's a 2-part page with a white top and a yellow carbon sheet underneath that we'll rip off and give to the parent after this conference. And it'll kind of give them a scale from 1 to 5 on attitude, attendance, performance in class, flexibility, things of that sort, knowledge and material. And we give them a grade and a rating, and then whether we recommend them or not for black belt training. So we make sure that our head instructor prepares those, signs them ahead of time, and then our program director will review that with the parent during the upgrade conference. And we put personal story on there because it's important to us that we know our students and that our parents know that we know our students. We don't want to just sit down with a parent and generically say, oh, yeah, he or she is doing a great job in class. We want to be specific. We want to say, we were watching Joey over the last 7 weeks since he's become a student, and we've really seen a big difference in his confidence. He started off a little quiet, a little shy. He didn't like to volunteer. And, over the last 2 months, he's really come out of his shell. I'm sure you've noticed that he's volunteered to be a leader in the front of the class. He's much louder. He comes in. He gives his instructors a polite greeting. So we really see a big change. And I'm sure you've noticed that too, right, Mom? Or right, Dad? And they'll agree. So we're really making sure that we kind of point out the progress that our program and our school and our instructors were able to do for the child, again, to kind of, reinforce the value of our program. Earlier, we alluded a little bit about our announcements and our handouts and our group staff meetings. So here's an opportunity at each individual school to make sure that again, the staff as a team is prepared for whatever announcements there are. We run anywhere from 7 to 8 classes in the evening, so that means we're going to be reading the announcements to our class 7 or 8 times each day. So they're going to be printed in copies and, on a clipboard, set out by the front of the mat against the mirrors, so that at the end of the class, the instructor can discuss everything that they need to, so the student body knows what events are taking place. And sometimes there's a lot of handouts that need to be given out. And again, so the purpose of doing the announcements in the meeting at 3 o'clock is to PDR, practice, drill, and rehearse. As simple as it sounds, sometimes if you just go out there and wing it, your announcements can be a little bit redundant. So we want to make sure that we're capturing everybody's attention and giving our announcements the importance that they deserve, because they have a lot to do with all the events that take place in our school. We'll make sure we have enough photocopies for the day that need to be handed out, and again, that everybody's on the same page and they're aware of the announcements, so that if anyone's questioned by a student or a parent, that they're up to speed on the events of the week. Our DQ list, we're going to review the finances again. We're going to make sure that we update it. We're going to contact any families that need to be called for a new credit card that may have expired, or if someone's behind on tuition payment, we just want to make sure that we're touching base and making sure everything's okay. And we're going to assign that. Sometimes the head instructor needs to speak with somebody. Sometimes the program director needs to speak with somebody. Whatever it is, our DQ list is very important to us. We want to run our collection rate very high. We don't want to have a lot of delinquents, and by staying on top of that, we're able to accomplish that. Our class plan. This is one of the most important things for us as a staff, is to make sure that we have a clear, concise lesson plan every day for every class. We don't just go out there and wing it on the floor. We always know what we're going to have ahead of time as far as a class plan or a class topic. We do quarterly lesson plans that are always laid out 3 months in advance. They're very specific. They vary from, day to day, week to week, month to month, as far as the warm-ups, the drills, the topics, the cool-down stretches, the wisdom talks. Everything is laid out ahead of time. So on a daily basis, we will review that. Who has what classes? What are they doing at that class? Whether it's the warm-up, whether it's the main portion of class, whether it's the closing of class. We always want to talk about what's new and exciting. What's a new way to do this particular drill on the pads? What's a new way to practice this kata to make it exciting? What's a new way we can work on some strength work to build skills with people? So class plans, lesson plans, huge for us. Every day reviewed. And finally, we have alerts. There's things that or people that need to be looked for during the day. It's important that if someone is on our C student list and they need some extra help, that every member of our staff knows that if that person comes in, we need to grab that person. We need to pull them aside. We need to talk to their parent. We need to schedule them for extra help. If it's left up to one person, it's very easy for that student to wander in and wander out and be missed. If it's left up to the head instructor and they're teaching class, maybe they'll have an opportunity to talk to that parent. If it's left to the program director and they're teaching an intro lesson, they may not even know that student showed up for class that day. But when everybody on the team knows that, hey, we need to look for Joey Miller today and schedule an extra help lesson, it's going to be accomplished. PIFs, that refers to any of our students who pay in advance 12 months at a time annually. And we have students who need renewal every month based on that. So we'll just make sure we're on the same page, letting the program director know that Mrs. Johnson's in tonight. So I know you wanted to talk to her. Our parents and our students, we just want to make sure, again, that we're taking the time to communicate with everybody. Again, DQ people. Some people at every school, habitually they really have a problem with their accounts. They're always running 1 month, 2 months behind. They tend to always pay, but they always fall behind, and they're in and they're active, and sometimes it just needs to be dealt with professionally, one-on-one. So we'll keep a lookout for people like that, and whatever else may happen. So that's the gist of how we do our staff training. And, again, in quick review, formal staff training 2 times every week, Monday and Wednesday, 9:30 to noon. First half of that training is martial arts training led by me, and I teach my staff as a martial arts class. Second half of every one of those meetings, business training. And then I think the key that keeps everything together is the daily staff meeting that we just talked about, led by the head instructor at each individual dojo. And they use this 10-point outline as a guide, and every day they sit down and they go through point by point with their staff, and that's how we're able to accomplish what we've been able to accomplish and keep continuing to grow stronger and stronger. So that's what I had planned to discuss with you. It's been about 30 minutes, so I'd like to see at this time if anybody has any questions that they'd like to share, and perhaps I can help make things more clear to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shihan. Yeah, so like Shihan said, feel free to post your questions up. I will read them out to him, and he can answer them through there. As of now, I don't see any questions, but if anybody does have any later on, are they able to contact you via email?
Of course. My email address is eastwestteam, EASTWESTTEAM,
yeah,
at AOL.com.
Okay, I'm just posting it here as well.
Great.
So everyone can copy it and paste it wherever they need to save it. I do have one, it's not a question, but somebody would like to see a sample of the lesson plan.
Okay. How about if I work on getting that to Sensei Nick or to yourself and you can distribute that?
Yeah, definitely.
Great.
Perfect.
Right.
Another question just came in. Are there any recommendations for marketing in a small area, for a small area?
For internal or external marketing?
External.
Let's see. I think that one of the things that we have a lot of success with externally is what we call face-to-face VIP. Our instructors always have a guest pass with them in their pocket. They carry a few business card-sized guest passes. And one of the things that we encourage them to do is anytime they're in a store, in line at Starbucks, anywhere they are, and they see a family, a mom with some kids or a dad with a child, we'll simply kind of approach them and say, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Mike. I'm a local martial arts instructor. I just noticed your son or daughter looks like a great age for martial arts. Have you guys ever thought about training in the martial arts before? And if they say yes, we give them a guest pass and say, well, that sounds great. I'd love to see you come down. Our school's real close. And, we'll go in to talk a little bit about what we offer and encourage them to come down. And if they say no, we say, well, great. If you ever think about it, I hope you give us a call. We hand them the guest pass and say, please feel free to share this with somebody that think could benefit. And we've had so much success with people coming in from that, so we call that face-to-face VIPing. We also do our rack card setups where you get little ad cards made, and we'll go to local businesses and ask to display them in a business card holder on their counter. And most businesses are very accommodating, so we try to put a lot of them in the local areas. Obviously, if you have an opportunity to do a demo at any type of a community event, that would be great. And you set up a table there and have some information, collect their information, give some passes out, and try to schedule some lessons. And then, beyond that kind of labor-intensive marketing, then you need to get into paid marketing, whether you're going to do paid ads, door hangers, direct mail, or things of that sort. And I think finally, don't neglect the power of your database. And when you can collect emails and create a strong email database, you can always use it to follow up for marketing with your current members, plus all the leads that you that you still have yet to convert. So I hope that helps.
Perfect. Yeah, that was an awesome answer. Somebody asked, do you have a front desk person at all times?
We have a front desk person at all times 90% of the time. So, occasionally maybe there's a Friday where that person's not in on one school, or maybe we have that front desk person that sits on the floor, for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, but, we have a front desk person scheduled every day all the time. We may have them, out on the floor from time to time. But overall, they're scheduled every day of the week, yeah.
Perfect.
And, as an aside from that, if you can't afford a paid employee for that position, you can use, volunteer help from your student base. Your advanced teenagers even, 16, 17, 18 are quite capable of answering the phone and greeting people and answering questions and handling retail sales if you just give them some basic training and some guidelines. Plus, a lot of the adult students are more than willing to help because a lot of them have children in the school, so they're there during the key times. I think if you just kind of approach it with some of the people already in your school, you can get a lot of help that way. We've done that for years.
Awesome. Nelson Costa has a couple of questions. First one is, what is the Mastermind Alliance? And also, what is the primary or most successful marketing method? Like, how do you
I'm
get
sorry, the most successful what?
Marketing method to get students.
Marketing method? Okay. First, the Mastermind Alliance is a consulting team led up by Sensei Nick Doherty. So if there's any more information you'd like regarding that, just contact Sensei Nick directly, and he can explain exactly what's involved and how to gain from that. As far as our most successful marketing campaign, for us, it's our internal marketing. We're very big on referrals and family add-ons. On a monthly basis, we always do a Bring a Friend Week. We're always hosting birthday parties and pizza parties. We're always looking for family add-ons, the siblings, the parents, and anything we can do to encourage people to get additional family members to join. We always refer to our school as East-West Karate, Family Martial Arts and Fitness. It's a very friendly family environment here. Very unlike an MMA school. Our demographics are not 20 to 35. Our demographics are primarily 5 to 16, and then 36 to 50. So we're very family oriented, and I think by creating that environment, keeping it friendly, keeping it safe, we've really done well with our referrals. So our internal generation of leads is by far our #1 marketing campaign.
Awesome. And then last question, Jackie wants to know if the PowerPoint slides will be available anywhere. And I could probably answer that. I'm sure I could get it from either you or Sensei Nick. And Jackie,
Absolutely.
If you just shoot me an email just as a reminder, I'll reply with the slides for you there. But this webinar is recorded, and we'll post it up on our YouTube channel as well, so you can access it there.
Great. Thank you, Shihan.
Yeah, no worries. There's one more question. James Wall asks, what is your opinion on offering 2 weeks free versus offering 2 weeks for $29.99 or something similar to that?
Well, over the years, we've experimented with both and many, many things. I think just recently I was reading some information about some studies that were shown that said more responses are received when there's a financial offer attached to advertising. So it's a conversation we just had here amongst our team that as opposed to saying, 1 month free or 2 free weeks of classes, that when you're offering 2 weeks of classes for $19.95 or 3 lessons for $9.95, there was a study and a report on that's getting more responses. So you can sample, experiment, and see what works best for you. But that's the answer that I would share because that's information that just came to me over the weekend. So we've done both. I would experiment, but yeah, that's the latest as far as what I've read.
Awesome. It looks like there are no more questions. I just want to thank you again for the awesome presentation. I'm sure everybody took a lot out of it. Thank you very much, Shihan.